Hello, class. Hope you're doing fine. Wanted to take a few minutes today to go over the Essay 1 instructions with you. Don't fret, the essay isn't due for a while. Please check the syllabus and schedule to confirm the due date. But I do want to talk to you about the Essay 1 assignment. The assignment sheet can be located in the Writing Assignments folder on Blackboard. Once you click on it, you'll see exactly what's on the screen right now. In this assignment, students will demonstrate the ability to compose a well-organized and effectively developed essay in MLA format. This essay should include a clear thesis statement, topic sentences to support the thesis statement, major details to expand on the topic sentences, and additional evidence to reinforce the major details. That might sound like a bunch of mumbo-jumbo now, but in future lectures, I will cover each one of those things. And by the time the essay rolls around and it's time to write, you should know exactly what that is and how to do it. There are 4 rhetorical strategies that you may choose from. If you saw my previous lecture and slideshow, I talked about the rhetorical strategies that are available in your textbook. I just went over them very briefly. There are chapters corresponding to each of the rhetorical strategies that you may read at your leisure. You have a choice of these 4 rhetorical strategies, but you have to pick one. You can't do multiple. So the first one is process. The second one is cause, effect, or cause and effect. The next one is compare, contrast, or compare and contrast. And the last one is classification and division. So, for example, so then let's get to the subject of topics, writing topics. I'm going to leave the topics up to you largely. As long as the topic is appropriate for a collegiate classroom, interests you, and relates to the specific rhetorical strategy that you have chosen, you may choose any topic. Now, I know that some people have a hard time coming up with topics a lot of the time. If you're having a hard time, you can send me an email at brian.murphy@westcatech.edu. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it fairly open-ended. For example, you could do a process essay about how to make grandma's enchiladas. You could do a cause and effect essay about the consequences of their Chernobyl disaster or some other natural disaster. You could do a compare and contrast essay about puppies and kittens, although that's a little simple for college, but you could do something like that. And then classification division, you could do like different types of animals you could find at the zoo, or different types of bears, or different types of cheese, or anything you could break down into from a larger category into smaller groups or smaller units. That would be classification division. Remember, each of these strategies has a corresponding chapter in your textbook. I encourage you to read the chapter as well as watch the supplemental lectures that I will provide to help you understand these strategies. For the requirements, the first requirement is at least 5 well-developed paragraphs. I prefer that you don't go over 5. I prefer you stick to 5, have an intro, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion, just because it makes things easy. 950 to 1,000 words, that's about 3 pages, thereabouts, whichever comes first. You need an introduction with a hook to effectively introduce your thesis statement. Your thesis has to be the last sentence of the introduction, and again, I'll go over this stuff with you in the future. Your body paragraphs must have an easily identifiable topic sentence, major and minor details, and transition words and phrases that correspond to the rhetorical strategy that you are following. The essay format must adhere to the 8th edition of MLA. Actually, we've moved on to the 9th edition now, but there aren't enough changes really to matter, so 8th or 9th is fine. 1-inch margins, 12-point font size, Times New Roman font style, and page number in the header. And remember, there is information on MLA format both in the Writing Resources folder on Blackboard as well as on the Purdue OWL, which is a great free website that you can access. Just go to Google and type in Purdue, as in Purdue University, P-U-R-D-U-E, and then OWL as in O-W-L, right? And it stands for Online Writing Lab. So you can go and check that out. It has a lot of writing resources, but one of them is an MLA style guide. It also has style guides for your other classes as well that include Chicago or APA or whatever other style you may be doing. So please make sure that you view the documents on Blackboard or the Purdue OWL, or come by and see me, or do an upswing tutoring if you know that the formatting will be a problem. I do not require you to use sources. In fact, for the first essay, I strongly discourage it because I haven't really gone over how to do source implementation properly and how to vet and make sure sources are credible. But if you're feeling brave, you need to make sure you have quotations for those sources, as well as in-text citations and a works cited page. If you don't want to fool with that for the first go around, you might just want to avoid using secondary sources. Remember, anything you use from another source anywhere on the internet or any other place, you need to quote and cite it, or it's plagiarism. Which, isn't that funny, at the top of page 2. Plagiarism, don't do it. You know the penalties based on the previous information I gave you. You get a 0 on the assignment, and then if you deny it, I refer you to the dean because I can't be wrong and I need to make sure that my methods are correct. So if the dean supports my decision, then you get a code of conduct violation. It's a mess, people. Let's not do it. Essay writing tips. Okay, this is just vague stuff. Choose a topic that interests you. Brainstorm about the topic. Just brainstorm, write notes down. Draft a working thesis statement. Thesis statement is number 1. We got to have that one sentence which represents the main idea of the paper. You need to gather all notes that you need, outline the main points, compare them to the thesis statement, and modify the thesis or the outline so they match. You need to fill out the outline with supporting details. You need to have those topic sentences in there as well. I don't require that you submit the outline, but I do encourage you to do one, and I will show you how to do an outline in forthcoming lectures. Do a rough draft. If you have time, submit it to Upswing or come by my office or send it to me or whatever. Get somebody to proofread it because you want to make sure that everything is in its right place and that you don't have a bunch of errors, because losing points unnecessarily is silly. And that brings me to the final thing I want to cover real quick, and that is the rubric for composition essays. I'm not going to go too terribly into this. I'm just going to give it to you piece by piece. There are 5 categories for the essay rubric. Each of them is worth 20% of the grade. When I calculate your grade, I go through and I give you a point percentage for each of these categories, and then I add it all up, and that's what you get. So the first one is requirements met, and this is basically, did you do what I asked you to do on the assignment prompt? Is the essay 1,000 words long? No, it's 750 words. Okay, that's a deduction from requirements met. Did you use the appropriate rhetorical strategies? Did you pick one of the 4 and stick with it? No, you picked 2 or 3 and tried to mingle them, or no, you used one that I didn't go over that wasn't on the assignment prompt. Okay, that would be a deduction from requirements met. So anything that is outlined in the essay prompt that you don't do can be taken off of requirements met. The next is organization and content. That is mostly your thesis and topic sentences, as well as your paragraph placement. Do you have a hook or attention getter? Do you have a strong thesis statement? Do you have strong topic sentences with good supporting details? If you got all the stuff where it's supposed to go and it's organized correctly, you'll get a good score there. The next one is development and support. This is basically about your writing voice. Do you write well? Do you write directly? Do you choose your words carefully? Do you include a lot of specific details? Do you have good transitions? Is there good flow? These are the kinds of things that I ask for development and support, and that is also 20%. The next category is Mla Setup and Documentation. That's the dreaded MLA format, which nobody likes. Did you do it correctly? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. A lot of people ignore it completely and end up getting 2 letter grades taken off for no reason at all. So make sure you pay attention to MLA formatting because it's worth a chunk of change. And then the final one is grammar and mechanics. Did you have a lot of comma splices? Did you have a lot of errors, spelling errors? Were things, were periods, was there a space in between the periods? Were there other kinds of grammar and mechanical problems? That's 20%. Some people do, they deduct for grammar cumulatively. I do not do that. I think I'm nice for being that way. But it's up to 20%. So you really want to make sure you pay attention and proofread because grammar and mechanics is a big deal. So this is included in the writing assignments folder. You can take a look at it on your own. It has tiers which explain how you get each level of point scoring. So there shouldn't be any confusion. And when I grade these essays in the Turnitin Viewer, I give you a little dissection, a grade breakdown, and I tell you what exactly was taken away and why. That way you know it wasn't just made up, right? Some people, they always suspect, I think my English teacher is making these things up. No, actually not. We use this rubric and we're very careful about it. So, okay, so those things are on the horizon. Please keep them in your sights. Remember, the essays are the biggest chunk of the grade by far, 20% each. So the more time you spend on them, the better you're going to do. That's all I got for you for now. So have a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, week, whatever it is, and I will see you again soon.